Having and not having arise together. Difficult and easy complement each other. High and low rest upon each other. Front and back follow one another.
Solidarity!
Welcome back to your weekly Florida AFL CIO legislative update for Week 4. The continued attack on Florida's public records laws was on the agenda early in the week, as HB 1021 by Representative Stubbe was debated in the Government Operations Appropriations Subcommittee. Masked as a way to address local government legal abuses through public records requests, this bill is actually a cut to the jugular of Florida's sunshine laws, placing additional hurdles for public records to be accessible to all Floridians. A string of local elected officials and their lobbyists all expressed support for the bill, but over 30 working-class citizens in the room spoke out in opposition.
What we are hearing from our members, 1 million of them across the state, is that we have real fears about this bill. They have directed us to vigorously oppose it as it's written. There are some very clear loopholes in the way the system is enforced right now that allow these bad actors to operate. Instead of surgically removing those loopholes, right, we have rats in the system. This is like dropping an atomic bomb on the city of Tallahassee to get at a rat infestation in an apartment building over on College Avenue.
The citizens in your communities who have been wrongfully denied access to a public record have no alternative other than filing suit.
This made it clear that the real motivation behind this legislation is to keep public records in the government's hands, away from the public's prying eyes. The bill passed, but we have only begun to fight this important battle. On Wednesday, the Trump-inspired anti-immigrant legislation, HB 675, was voted on by the Florida House. Opposed by local governments, law enforcement, social service organizations, and the like, this unnecessary bill would force local officials, including police, teachers, and any public sector worker, to become federal immigration agents without training or funding. This could cost local taxpayers millions, betray the trust between public servants and the immigrant community, and do nothing to fix our nation's broken immigration system.
Let the federal government do their job. Do not put this additional burden on our local communities, on our local law enforcement. That was not the job they decided to do when they went into local government. If they wanted to work for ICE, they would have gone there. Members, please do not support this legislation. I ask you, I implore you, this is not good for our local communities and the state of Florida.
The bill passed the House on Wednesday, and the battle against this anti-immigrant legislation now heads to the Senate. On Thursday, the House began initial debate on their 2016 budget that closely mirrors the one proposed by Governor Scott, including almost $1 billion in handouts and tax breaks to major corporations and drastic cuts to recurring revenue. Working Family Lobby Corps members filled the committee to show their opposition to a sweetheart deal budget for corporations balanced on the backs of Florida's taxpayers.
Florida's major institutions are failing. Almost daily we see reports of DCF, DOC, mental health services, Medicaid. They're failing in their missions to provide critical services for the people of Florida, and at the heart of many of those failings is a lack of revenue. There's no evidence that this economic model actually works in stimulating the economy and creating jobs. There's a lot of evidence that the people who will benefit by this, the corporations that Representative Rodriguez mentioned, will benefit. A surplus defined by Webster's Online is what remains when all needs and obligations have been met. As I believe I've articulated here, our needs and obligations in the state of Florida have not been met. There is no surplus that can be handed out like candy in a candy store.
In a protest of the process that is ramming this legislation with insufficient consideration, the Democratic members left the committee before a vote. HB 7099 passed committee and now heads to the full House for consideration. In a victory at the end of the week, the House State Affairs Committee unanimously voted in favor of HB 361, a working family-supported proactive piece of legislation that would change the often confusing language for voting from the comfort of your own home from absentee ballot to vote by mail ballot.
Letter carriers have had quite a lot of comments this week on different bills.
We've been working this pretty hard.
Working Family Lobby Corps members celebrated the success and shared their experiences.
I'm Al Friedman, State President for the Association of Letter Carriers, and we had an idea 4 years ago to introduce a bill to change the name absentee ballot to vote by mail. Took 4 years to get here, and all the membership are here to help support this. It is solidarity in numbers.
Hi, I'm Val Smith. I'm with United School Employees of Pasco County. This is probably my 8th or 9th time coming up for the Working Family Lobby Corps. Every time I come up here, I have an opportunity to contribute and be part of something pretty big. And I'm always impressed with the fact that we have opportunities to forge some bonds with good labor brothers and sisters who are willing to stand together on issues.
The biggest thing I learned here this week is there is strength in numbers. It's been said before, and it just sounds like a cliche, but it's really not. Because if you look at all these people standing here behind me, we changed the course of a bill on the budget yesterday by not everybody getting up and speaking, but just by signing a card and saying you waive in opposition, and it put them into a fluster. And it is so important that we get our members up here to Tallahassee, because this is our house, and we want you to come be a part of the Working Family Lobby Corps.
We're nearing the halfway points of the 2016 legislative session, but the fight against anti-working family legislation is just starting to heat up. Stay tuned for next week's legislative update. Solidarity.